Hi everybody, it's day 2 of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge 2019, and this is deck day. Oh, so excited. I love deck day. Everybody loves deck day, right? Still here on the hallway floor. We'll see if I can move downstairs. My husband's just doing a pile of work right now, so I didn't want to disturb him. Still got my Christmas tree up. Till this weekend, I think I'm fine. There's my other cat. Oops. If you watched my video yesterday, I had a lot of cat interruptions from my black cat, Callie, so we'll see how this goes. And if my 2 dogs come up here and interrupt me, then it's game over. So let's try and get this done. This is a hard prompt for me, actually, because it was the top 5 tarot decks that you acquired in 2018 or came out in 2018. And I had a really long dry spell where I just wasn't into it. I thought for a while, I was like, oh no, I had this interest and now I've got books and decks and I've lost interest. It sometimes happens to me. It usually happens in the form of research. I get really interested in a topic and I research and research and research. It doesn't usually involve buying stuff, but this one does involve buying stuff, decks, and I have too many decks already, and some I'm looking to rehome as I learn about what I like and what works for me. So as a result, I've got a deck that I got very early in the year that I can talk about as one of my favorite decks for sure. But the other ones are such new acquisitions that I don't know if they're my favorites yet or not. Because at the end of the year, I just had this rush of interest come back and really overwhelm me. And one day I'm going to do a video about like acquiring decks and then using them. Sometimes I don't follow through with the using them, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, let's get to them. Maybe I'll go kind of in order of my, no, they're all my favorites. But okay, let's start. This was really dumb because I used this deck yesterday. I have lots of decks I could talk about, throwing cards. But this is the Dirty Pam, the Pamela Coleman Smith RWS Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, which was pulled off of shelves, or it wasn't around for very long, but I was really happy I got one and then re-released as the, it's being re-released, sorry, as the Radiant Wise Spirit. Just the coloration of this one is just great. And while I use other Rider-Waite decks just as much as this one, I do really love this one, and I got it in 2018, which is why it's coming on into this video. The only thing I wish it did have was the calligraphy. I wish it had the calligraphy. I actually think the reprint is going to come in a nicer box, but oh well. I tend to destroy the tuck boxes anyway and put them in bags. I don't have a lot of time for tuck boxes. They really bug me. But oh, it's such a glorious deck. I really recommend it. I love the strength card. Well, you know the Rider-Waite Smith, but the coloration is fantastic. So I do recommend, if you didn't get a chance to jump on that bandwagon, I think you might have to wait till June or July, but that's the Pamela Coleman Smith. I call it the Dirty Pam because that's what Simon of Hermit's Cave and Kelly Bear call it, and they're awesome. Okay, and then we jump to late in the year. And I did get a number of different decks. Some of them are going to go in my decks I crossed off my wish list. So what will I do next? Oh no, that's not true. I have one from the beginning of the year, and it is the greatest. I love it so much. It's the, oops, the Anima Mundi Tarot. This is an Etsy deck, and it's so beautiful. A non-human deck. The pictures are gorgeous, oil paintings. Every choice is really great. I did a full unboxing of this, and I had a couple of questions about some of the animal choices, and then I read the guidebook, and I'm like, 100%. I get it. You're hanged man as a spider. I totally get it now. So to that creator, my questions were all answered, and I'm with you 100%. And I love doing spreads with it. I love using it for reading. Sometimes I just don't want to look at people. And I think that So much great choice went into this, and just gonna leave that there. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. Oh, you could just look at it all day long. Let me show you the moon card just in case you haven't seen it, because it's just the moon, but it is so, it's my favorite moon card, I think, maybe of all time, although I just love that card so much. Shouldn't have done this. I should have pulled it out ahead of time. Look at me. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Look at it. Oh, man. Gorgeous. So that's the Anima Mundi deck. I love it so much. Next up, we have the Tarot Fauna. Show you that. Nice hard box. The Anima Mundi also comes in a nice hard box, by the way. I should have said. It has a little guidebook. There we go. The Pamela Coleman Smith Tarot just has the regular little white book. Tarot Fauna, I found this on Kijiji. So I don't know if you have Kijiji in the States, but in Canada it's like our Craigslist. We have Craigslist too, but I think Kijiji has totally overtaken it. And this was somebody in my area was selling it, and I had never heard of it. It's an indie published deck. It does not come with a book, but I think you can go online to the creator's website and get the book. And I haven't had it for very long, but it's everything I like. It's animals, it's indie published, it's beautiful. These are the backs that, I don't know if the light's going to show up. There's actually sort of some taupes in there too that you maybe can't see. A little bit there. But it's lovely, nice cardstock. And there we go. The cards are borderless and beautiful. Isn't that pretty? It's not always rider weighty. It seems to have its own system, and I'm not great with that right now, which is maybe why I haven't used it as much. Also, I haven't had it for very long, but I do want to. This is probably going to go in my what decks do I want to use more. Look at that Temperance card. Come on. It's just really pretty, and I think really thoughtful about how you could interpret these cards, even if it does diverge somewhat. It's not Toth, it's not Rider-Waite-Smith, it's its own thing. And I'm excited to learn about that. I might not have ordered it online and paid for shipping in American dollars because it's different, but I'm really, really happy that I got it for a cheaper amount of money, where I could just pick it up in Canada and not worry about shipping, and I'm really excited to work with it. So that is the Tarot Fauna. I think you can still get it. I think the artist is still selling it from her website if you're interested in it, and I'm really, really happy that I have it. Okay, so then my next one that I acquired is the Orisha Tarot. And while I acquired other decks this year, there was a couple reasons why I wanted to talk about this one specifically. One is that I haven't seen anybody talk about this one. This is by a Toronto reader and artist named Andrew McGregor. He owns a store called The Hermit's Lamp. And I was in the store. I don't live in Toronto, but I happened to be in Toronto, and I went to the store. And this deck, I don't know anything about Orisha, the systems. I was just in the store, really moved by the images and moved by the deck. And I love going to bricks and mortar stores and purchasing things and supporting them. And I was really moved that these images were created by the guy who ran the store, a local Toronto guy. So I picked up the set sort of on impulse. I haven't used it at all yet because it's so recent to me and because I feel like I want to read the book first. But it's one of these new Llewellyn packages, so magnetic, super hard box. Thank you, Llewellyn, for getting rid of your garbage boxes. I have so many decks from them where I just threw the box out because they irritated me so much, which is not good probably for trading them, or getting rid of them, but live and learn. So it comes with this big book, really chunky. It's, I don't know 350 pages, full color, really beautifully produced book. And then with a section at the beginning to talk about the deck and spirits and Orisha and those kinds of things. So I'm excited to get into that. And then the cards are just really interesting. They're still in order because I haven't done anything with them yet. So you can see there's little titles right there in different spots on the deck, but otherwise they're borderless. The people don't all look the same. High Priestess, isn't that interesting? I thought it was really cool. Emperor, I thought that was really neat. And there's a lot going on in each card, a lot to think about, a lot to look at, and lots of symbology that I don't understand at all. But I'd like to. Justice card. See, there's a lot of line work and a lot of interesting things in there. The Hermit. I like him a lot. The Hermit's one of my favorite cards. I'm going to talk about that later. Sorry, there's a glare that I'm having trouble getting rid of. Fortune. Strength. I actually don't love that Strength card. That's one of my favorite cards too. But I can't love everything. Look at that Death card. With a candle. And Rebirth. There's just a ton going on here. So I'm pretty excited to look at that. Let me show you, I'll show you a couple of the minors too, I should, since they're in order. I'll just randomly, Seven of Swords. Eight of Swords. Nine of Swords, isn't that interesting? Ten of Swords. The Ship. Let's look at a couple. Discs. Eight of Discs. Oh, I went to the eights both times. Nine of Discs. 10 of Discs. I like that one because it's more about ancestors. Anyway, these are the backs. Cowrie shells, I think. Maybe flat plants. I don't know, but pretty. I like them a lot. And Americans. You can buy this set on Amazon for $18. $18 for the whole set. I just looked it up today. I was like, what? In Canada, of course, it's $35, but that's how things tend to go between US and Canada. So even though he's a Canadian artist and he's just down the road, and I certainly didn't pay, I paid more than that. I paid $45, which I felt a little bit, but at the time when I saw it, and actually it was cheaper on Amazon when I looked after that, it was like 22 or something. But you have to support the artist. It was in the store where he worked that I got to go to, so you just gotta let that go. But guys, get on it. It's a really cool deck. If you're into that, if you know things about Orisha, then it's probably great. So we'll see. So that is deck number 4. And then deck number 5. This is my current love of my life. Naked Heart. Naked Heart. This is the second edition. I didn't know about it for the first edition. That's the guidebook. And I love how the guidebook is written. I did my 2019 spread with a card for each month and journaled on a card for each month using this deck. I haven't been using it for very long, but I just love it. There's the back. There's a crystal grid on there. I don't know very much about crystal grids, and there's a section about that in the book, but I haven't used it for that, and I don't have a lot of crystals or anything like that. So it's not in order because I have been using it almost exclusively these days. And there's just something so magical about it. I did a little 3-card spread, like a deck interview, when I first started to use it, and it made me cry, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I had 3 cards, I can't do two things at once. Six of Swords. Okay, let's talk about this, for example. So Six of Swords. I looked at this and I was like, oh, it's a turtle and it's moving across water and it's moving, it's a rainbow turtle. But I didn't notice that only the front half is a rainbow until I read the guidebook. And then, of course, it's a turtle moving in from dark waters out through under water where a rainbow is shining. And so it's moving into the rainbow because you can see that only the top half of the turtle is in rainbow. I mean, that's the level of thought given. The cardstock is gorgeous. I love to hold them in my hands. I love to work with them. I'm just really loving, oh, Nine of Swords. Father of Cups. Just am loving it so much. That came up in my interview spread, Two of Pentacles, about how my question was, what do you want to tell? So deck, what do you want to tell me about myself? And balance is a real issue for me. So that was pretty neat. And then what do you want to tell me about you was the High Priestess, which I'm just trying to find right now, just so I can share it with you. Might not be able to find it. Oh, God, it's also good. Oh, there we go. Maybe I'm not going to be able to find the third one in the spread. Planning is not my strong suit. Nope, I don't know where it is. It's in there somewhere, but so the High Priestess was, what do you want to tell me about you? Like, meaning me, like deck, what do you want to tell me about the energy that you have? And High Priestess, which I was really needing. And then my third question was, what do you want to tell me about what you will be for me? What you'll mean to me, what you'll... And the card was the Queen of Swords, which is a card I really associate with my mom. So made me cry. Guys, I've shared too much. Anyway, so that's my number one that I'm just in love with right now. It's the greatest. And I acquired it in 2018, so it counts. So those are my decks. I can't wait to see all of yours, and I will do oracles tomorrow, and can't wait to see all of those too. Have a great day.